Yes, people, wagwan, what you saying? It is I, Diligent Fingers. Okay, this video is not really gonna have a straight path. It is gonna be more of a stream of consciousness because I find myself like stuck in a collection of thoughts that I thought I would have had more of a clear answer for things, but I just don't, except for recognizing how much kind of like clout and interpersonal sort of classism has taken over so many things. Forgive me, stay with me, and hopefully you can follow. So, the first thing that ended up catching me was this whole thing about the AP watches, the new AP and Swatch watch collaboration. And my initial thoughts around it, regarding how people who have bought like the really expensive AP watches are now reacting and feeling like they've lost some sort of exclusivity. Do you know what I mean? Um, because there's a cheaper version of the same brand of watch that they've bought that now everybody else can get and stuff. And I was confused by the reaction because it was like the exclusivity is still there. Like one person was saying that they'd spent $300,000 on an AP watch resale as well because they weren't able to get it retail. And probably from me saying that, you'll probably know who I'm talking about. But that's not the point. Um, the point was like the fact that they felt like they'd been betrayed in some way because they'd spent this amount of money to feel like they had something that nobody else could get. And then it turns out that everyone else can get, you know, a version of this same thing. And I'm like, well, see, the exclusivity is still there because it's not the same watch that you can get. Not the same watch that you've got. Sorry, do you know what I'm saying? Um, the branding's still gonna be on there. Like all these Swatch versions are gonna have Swatch on the actual watch face, compared to the skeleton or you know all those kind of things. It just really baffled me that that was the response, and like people making such a big thing that they're now going to sell their pieces that they've bought and then buy pieces from other places. Do you know what I mean? That are more expensive. That was one thing. I won't go further into my whole full process, but I'll go on to this next thing that caught me. Along the same vein, I ended up seeing another video on YouTube talking about how people that have bought really expensive Bugattis, they also feel betrayed because Bugatti made more Bugattis. Do you know what I mean? It was mad, and they made them more expensive. I'm like, why is this a thing? Why is this something to be upset about? Like you've spent £2 million on a Bugatti. Like Bugatti have ended up making another, exclusive version of the Bugatti at certain low numbers. Do you know what I mean? To add to the exclusivity. But some people are annoyed that they've made another car in the first place because they don't feel as special anymore. They don't feel as exclusive anymore. I'm like, well, what? Why are you buying these things then? Like, what's the actual reason and stuff? And then I started to like relate it to music. I started thinking about the turntable era. Yeah, I mean, I remember like people being like, "Oh, if you've not got Technics turntables, you're not a real DJ." I'm like, why am I going to spend all this money on Technics when I can get a pair of Vestax at half the price, still get the job done? Do you know what I mean? And then I had an idea. Yeah, I had an idea just randomly where I thought I'd make a series of videos, tips videos on how to be able to create better songs, better music as a producer if you're collaborating with a vocalist, or as a vocalist when you're collaborating with a producer. Me doing both. So I'm a vocalist, a rapper, a singer, and I also produce my own music, and I produce for other people, and I vocal other people's tracks. So I was going to do a collection of tips and stuff to um sort of highlight like some sort of best practices, so there's less frustrations when collaborating on both sides, um and ways that like you be able to give each other space and a framework to be able to convey your ideas, what you're trying to put across, as well as tips on how to stop like little mistakes being made when you're either sending out stems or you're sending out a production for somebody to actually get inspired and write an idea to your production. And then I kind of stopped doing it because through me trying to write down these tips and explain how to do these things in the back of my mind, I was like, well, there was this thought that just came straight to the front of my mind, an intrusive thought, and that um, someone will just like a lot of people will just turn around and be like, oh, this is all too much effort. Let me just go on Suno and get an AI vocal, or let me go on Splice and just get a vocal from there and stuff. And ultimately, the running theme that I ended up finding with all of these scenarios and situations is that everyone wants to find the quickest way to be able to be part of some sort of exclusive club. So going back to the AP situation, that now that AP have done this $300 watch, it's opened the door for more people to have this watch, and the people that had spent more money, all they're asked about is the fact that now it's really easy for everybody else to have this thing, and they don't feel as special anymore. Same with Bugatti have made more cars. The people that bought the first 2 million car, and then now they've seen that there's a 3 million car and a 5 million car and a 10 million car, all more exclusive than the last. They don't feel like as special anymore. When it came to the whole Technics thing, and that like if you bought a set of Technics, and then to see someone doing basically the same thing that you can do, but on a cheaper pair of Technics or a controller, they don't feel as special anymore because now everybody's part of this club. And then when it got down to actual music production and why the intrusive thought of AI came into my head, it's because people want a quick and easy way to be able to get into the club of making music. And to some extent, all the people that have put in time and effort, bought expensive equipment, or not bought expensive equipment, but maybe spent money on lessons, tutorials, one-to-one sessions, this, that, and the third, they don't feel as special anymore because somebody can just type in a prompt and make a track. For me, what I feel like what I feel like has been missed throughout all of these situations is an appreciation for the craft itself. It's more about being able to show off that you're in this space that not everybody else can get into, rather than appreciating how you've got there. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that you are there. Do you know what I mean? Try and make this as general as possible. So in each example, I get an AP. I've spent 30K on it. So I've worked hard, I've saved up money, whatever it may be. I've spent 30K on it. I don't care if somebody else has got an AP. I don't care how many other people have got an AP if I'm that asked about having the AP. Because I appreciate the watch. I appreciate the watch for what it is. I appreciate the craftsmanship. Swatch watches are not going to be built like the AP and Swatch collaboration is not going to be built the same way that a true Royal Oak AP is going to be built. It's not going to have the same materials. That's why it's $300, not $30,000 or $300,000. I love Casio watches. Love them. Absolutely adore Casio watches. And, I love G Shocks. So many different colorways of G Shocks and things like that. Love them. Love them. Some of the old school, like classic Casio watches and shit like that. Like, love them. I think they're sick. Love to have a collection of them. Some of them are a bit expensive. Do you know what I mean? For the red, like the big ones and shit that I really want. If I was to get one, I'm not going to be. There is no point in time in my mind where I'm going to be upset that somebody else has either got one cheaper through resale or second hand, or Casio have put out a cheaper version, or like, because I appreciate the watch for what it is. I appreciate what I've had to do to be able to get the money to spend it on that watch. Same with the Bugatti. I've bought the Bugatti in the first place because of the craftsmanship. Same with G-Shock Casio watches. Do you know what I mean? Same with like Tag Heuer, those watches. I had one once, and you know, really, really loved that watch. Appreciated the craftsmanship. Like I appreciate watching, like, do you know what I mean? How timepieces are built and stuff like that. Like, so I understand why they cost as much as they cost. I'll put it in another way. Yeah, I'll give another example. I've always loved Jordan 4s. Loved them. Never had a chance to buy a pair, do you know what I'm saying? And stuff. Not that I can't afford it nowadays. Just more things that I see as more important to buy than Jordan 4s at the moment. And if I was to get a pair of Jordan 4s and then I saw somebody with a pair of Team Jordans, that's not gonna make me feel like my Jordan 4s are less valuable just because Team Jordan as a brand is out there as well. No, I'm buying the Jordan 4s because of the story behind them, the history behind them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's become so much of a thing with like hype beast culture, like consumerism culture, that these things end up representing so much more to certain people than what they actually are. You're spending that extra money because of the craftsmanship, the quality and the craftsmanship, not because you feel like you're going to be in some sort of exclusive club and you can stunt on everybody else that you've got this specific thing. It's like Andrew Tate flexing that he's got a Bugatti. How many Bugattis have you got? Like none, because I don't want one. So then it comes down to turntables. Like for me, like when I got a cheaper pair of turntables, like Vastex turntables, it didn't mean that the Technics 1210s or the Technics 1200s dropped down in value somehow. Like the moment that I could have a pair of like Technics 1210s for myself, I was buzzing. And as soon as I started playing them, and now I could see why so many people love the deck so much. Sturdy, good quality. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the things that you could do on Technics because of how strong the motors are and that the quality of the signal that comes out of the tone arm. You get good quality needles, like the clarity of the music. Do you know what I'm saying? Keep your vinyls clean, you'll be able to keep that quality and that clarity. And that, like, yeah, nah, I see why people love Technics so much. So when I got a pair, look after him. That doesn't mean that I'm any better than anyone else because I've got a pair of Technics. It just means that I've finally been able to get a good quality pair of some good stuff. So then it comes down to music, the art of producing music itself. For me, when I realize the craftsmanship that has gone into making a piece of music, the detail in the production, the detail in the vocals, the intricacies of the performance, the cadence, the cleverness of the words. Do you know what I mean? The lyrics that are being sung and being performed, the clarity of the overall production, the mix and the master. For me, that's why I'd be like, yeah, take my money. I appreciate the quality of something. The moment I know that a piece of music has been made by AI, all of that goes out of the window because I know all you've done is type in some words. There's no there's no craftsmanship there for me to be able to really appreciate other than whether it sounds like a good piece of music or not. And I think that's the difference when it comes to these kind of things between enthusiasts, lovers of the craft, appreciators of what goes into making art. Creating timepieces is an art. Creating vehicles is an art. Creating a piece of technology for you to be able to perform on is an art. Creating music is an art. And within all of these things, there is craftsmanship, there is time, there is effort, there's labor that goes into all of these things. And if the only thing that people can take from it is that, oh, because I appreciate this thing, I am now part of an exclusive club. Because I can partake in these things, I'm now part of an exclusive club, which therefore makes me feel better than other people. You're completely missing the point. You're already devaluing the thing that you claim to appreciate in the first place by having that mindset. And it's a shame, man. It's a shame that we've gotten to this stage, really and truly. This is why I've never really like jumped out of the pram to be like, oh, I'm dead against AI, I'm dead against this, I'm dead against that. Like, oh, consumerism, everything's bad. Like, I've never jumped out of my pram to make a point of saying this, that, and the third, because saying things like that, sorry, because I have to believe, and I do believe that there are people out there that appreciate the quality of these things rather than how they can hold it over anybody else or how it makes them feel better than other people because they have this thing. I suppose that's why, like, I have the life I lead, the life that I live, because I've been taught to appreciate the quality of an item more than what having that item can gain for me superficially. You know, like, I hope all of these things make sense. I hope I've been able to connect them all. Do you know what I mean? Because ADHD, man. Like, sometimes it's hard to like bring everything together without feeling overwhelmed and shit. But yeah, I hope this makes sense. What do you lot think? What do you lot think? Let me know in the comments. And until the next video, take it easy, man. Blessings to you all.